Hey guys, welcome to Motivation Monday. It's been a couple of weeks since I've been on here. I hope you guys are doing fantastic and that the new year is off to a really good start for you. Um, I know with the new year, all kinds of things can happen. People can enter with leftover stress and debt from Christmas time. People can reflect back on the year previous and either use it as motivation to move forward, or potentially use it, in a negative light in terms of, oh, I didn't do this, this, and this. Maybe I can't do any more than that. Um, Very, very important. A lot of people too will set goals. Will set, well, at least set a New Year's resolution or goals, or if they know how, they'll create a vision and then set goals based on that. And that's very, very important. I talked about that previously, and I really believe that it's like that quote from the Bible: "Without vision, the people perish." So we need to have that vision. That's very, very important. We need to have the action steps to get there. We need to create a plan and even understand some of the things that could come up, some of the challenges that could get in the way of us fulfilling those goals, and what to do when those challenges come up. A lot of times, people do all those things and they'll find themselves still stuck. Let's put it this way. They'll have the action plan, they'll have the motivation quite often, and yet, for instance, maybe they'll step in front of the mirror and notice that nothing's changed, or they find themselves, any number of things. Sleeping in when they shouldn't be. Skipping their workout. Not making the phone calls they know they need to make for their business, or not taking action towards their giving to their spouse, for instance, even though they know they want to and it would really be beneficial. Or not procrastinating. Staying stuck in just doing things that aren't productive or effective, or staying stuck in busy work. So busy being busy for the sake of being busy, but really not getting anywhere. And so, one thing to notice, and again, you might be watching this live, you might be watching the recording on Facebook or on YouTube. Either way is good. I encourage you guys. I've been. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been a little bit off track in terms of keeping this very consistent and regular, like I would a coaching session. So my part of my New Year's commitment is to be there on time, 9:30 every Monday, and 9:30 PST if you're watching this in a different time zone. And excuse me, I'm gonna be clearing my throat a little bit here. I'm just on the tail end of having a cold, kind of being sick all week last week. I'm about 80% right now, so getting there. But I realized that all of us tend to make excuses, and a lot of times those excuses will seem very valid and legitimate, but nonetheless they're still excuses. If we want what we say we want, then we need to be prepared to take the actions to move in that direction. And so, in terms of my acts of service, being of service, this Motivation Monday, and in the group, the Friday's Q&A, the coaching session that I do with people. These are very, very important, and I haven't been giving them the importance that I wanted to place on them. So that's what I'm doing for you guys now. I'm gonna make sure I'm here. If I can't be here for some reason, like I did when I was away there or sick or whatever it was, I will give you notice, let you know that I'm not going to be here. But if you're watching this recording, or if you're watching this live, I'd also love to know, get any feedback from you guys, things that you'd like to see worked on, things that you learned, or any insights you gained, whatever the case may be. So, in order to achieve our goals, we need to really know what we want at a very deep, a very big level. We need to be able to break that down into very manageable short-term or benchmark goals, and then break that down into actionable steps, things that we can do right away. We also need to understand the things that can come up that would keep us from achieving those goals, or that might be a bit of a deterrent from those goals, an obstacle or a challenge that we need to overcome, because inevitably they're going to be there. So we need to have a plan for that, or a strategy to deal with those to the best of our ability. Inevitably, things are going to go wrong in life. No matter how much you're thriving or not, we all face challenges. Inevitably, we might lose a client, or somebody's going to get sick. At some point, somebody's going to die. So it's knowing that we have what we call the resourcefulness to deal with these times and situations, the inner power, if you will, the strength to not only endure, but to learn and to grow through the experience, to heal, to transform through the experience. So all of this is important to get us to where we want to go. Now, another part to really look at, and this is what I want to talk about today, is, well, you've all heard that idea of the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Everybody's heard that, right? Okay. And yet, I found that for most of us, that's what we keep doing, at least in certain areas. So we keep, wanting something different, but we'll go back to the same emotional or behavioral pattern. So we'll allow the same things to trigger us, let's say, into stress or into worry or into anger or into depression or anxiety or whatever it is. And we allow that stress or that anxiety or that depression to overwhelm us, to control us, to limit what we're doing, or at least the effectiveness or the quality of those actions that we might be taking if we can take action from that place. Most times, most of us find it very difficult to do that. So we need to look at these patterns. A better way to think of it, or an easy way to think of it, is to look at the habits that we have that disempower us, the habits that we have that could empower us. Right? So I want to talk about habits. Think of it this way. I like to call habits rituals. I think Tony Robbins. I learned that from Tony Robbins. The idea of rituals. Basically, we all have rituals that we perform. Whether we do so consciously or unconsciously is another matter. So we all have rituals in our lives. And it's those rituals that directly determine the course of our lives. So in other words, if things aren't changing, then it's time to have a look at those rituals, those habits. If you change your rituals, you'll change your life. There is no other way around it. Now, can a breakthrough happen very quickly? Yes. In one session, 1 hour with somebody, I can create a breakthrough. Transformation, in other words, where that breakthrough can last and that breakthrough has an effect on maybe all areas of a person's life. Transformation takes more time. It takes consistency. And that's where these rituals come in. So very, very important to ask yourself, well, what are your rituals? What do you do consistently every day, every morning, every evening? What do you do? What are your rituals? So I want you to just take a minute right now and think about what are the rituals that you have, and or you can look at it as what habits do you need to overcome? What are your bad habits, so to speak? So some examples of this would be things like, well, obviously some people want to kick the smoking habit, or maybe they drink a little bit too much, or I mentioned procrastination earlier. But other types of rituals would be things like, well, I work with a lot of realtors, and a very common ritual, a bad habit actually, is that a lot of people will wake up even before they get out of bed and they'll check their emails. They'll check their phone. Now, some people